Radharani Krishna Krishna Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvise Sasunyavadi Paschati Satanine. Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati.
Hare Krishna, everyone, and welcome to our ISKCON Crawley's weekly class. So, as of course, along with as the pandemic's still going on, we're still continuing on with our online classes. And today we have a very, very special guest with us today. For those of you that don't know Mahatma Prabhu, I'm sure most of you do, but just a short introduction. So Prabhu has actually been part of ISKCON for over 50 years now. He met Prabhupada at the age of 19 and he received initiation shortly afterwards. He's famously known for his Brahma Samhita praise, which I'm sure most of you have heard. And I don't think there's a service which Mahatma Prabhu hasn't done in ISKCON or at all. He's been involved in book distribution, been a Sankirtan leader, been temple president, been involved in college preaching, he's been developing communities, and now he's an initiating spiritual master. He gives very unique classes on topics which I find that most devotees in ISKCON don't really talk about, but they're very much needed. The topics range from self-esteem, self-love, forgiveness, humility, marriage, and so many more. And he presents Krishna consciousness in such a way that can be practically implemented in people's lives. And that's one thing among many that inspires me the most about Mahatma Prabhu. And during this lockdown, Prabhu's been very, very active on his Facebook account. He's been giving 1, 2, 3 classes a day along with all his other services which he has going on. So we're very, very fortunate to have Mahatma Prabhu's association today. So without any further delay, I'll hand over to His Grace Mahatma Prabhu. Thank you.
Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvise Sasunyavadi Paschati Satanine. Nice to be back in Crawley. It was very easy to get here, to get there, to get to you. And Zoom has made life easier for me in many ways. I can fly into Crawley and fly out within a matter of seconds. And Nikhil has asked me to speak about Radharani, being that it is her appearance day on Tuesday. And I always feel a little bit unqualified to speak about Radharani, because when you speak about Radharani, you're speaking about the highest position, the highest love, the highest devotion, and the most intimate connection with Krishna, the most, which is for us in our conditioned state, in one sense, the most difficult to understand, but also necessary to understand, because what Radha and Krishna represent is the antithesis of the material world. And the more we understand them and their love, the better for us. But at the same time, to say it's esoteric would be an understatement, because it flies in the face of everything we understand about love in this world. It has nothing to do with that love. And if we try to understand it from that perspective, we'll fail miserably. We may even make offense. So it's with the utmost respect and whatever humility I have that I address this topic. And I know that, at least I fear that sometimes when we tell stories about Krishna and the gopis and so forth, we may in some way minimize the depth of what's going on there, because the stories are so transcendental and funny, blissful, and so forth. And we may we may miss the depth of it because we ourselves, we can only get the depth to the degree that we have the depth of love. And in Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's movement, the Gaudiya Math, there were parts of the Bhagavatam they didn't talk about, these intimate connections. And so we approach it with a great deal of respect and feeling ourselves unqualified. And it is a bit of a paradox because Prabhupada said these pastimes of Radha and Krishna are the panacea for our material disease. But if we're not qualified to hear them, then they become the cause of our material disease. So there's this fine line. There's this fine line in approaching this. And the problem is that when there's lust in our heart, we tend to, what's the word they use in psychology? Project. Yeah, we tend to project our own lust on the activities of Radha and Krishna. Because there's boy and there's girl, there's man and there's women. When we see beautiful man and woman, we may have lusty thoughts. And so if we approach Radha and Krishna in that way, it's a disaster for us. The other side of that is that we won't understand Radha and Krishna unless we're pure. To the degree that we're pure, we understand the pure love that exists between Radha and Krishna. To the degree that we're impure, there's a tendency to misunderstand it, to see it as something like ordinary boy and girl. So Radharani's position is unique, and Prabhupada explained her position as the one who controls Krishna, which is, it's interesting as a concept, as a theological concept, because by definition, God is the controller of everyone. But we know that Krishna is controlled by love, and the more that one has love, the more one is controlled. And so Krishna is no different, because that's where we get that, that's why we have that problem, where we're controlled by those who love us. And Krishna is completely controlled by Radha, and what will ever please her, whatever he can do to please her, make her happy, he will do that. And as she is completely controlled by Krishna, it's not a one-sided thing. And so when we see the love of Radha and Krishna, we see that it's in a sense equal. Their love is, they're trying to outdo one another. That whatever would make Radha happy, Krishna does. Whatever would make Krishna happy, Radha does. Whatever pain Krishna would have to experience to make Radha happy, he will. And whatever pain she has to experience to make Krishna happy, she will gladly experience that. And there we get a beginning glimpse unto what is love. And the Bhagavatam is a book on love. It has been said the Bhagavatam is a book on love because it shows the love that Krishna has for for his devotees, and the devotees' love for him. And then when you come to the 10th canto, then you get to learn more about the love of the Brajvasis, which is the highest love. And then within that, you get to see the gradations of love. And then you get to see the love the gopis have, which is unparalleled love. And then you get to see the love that Radha and Krishna have, which is the supreme. Radha's love for Krishna is unmatched. And then with that love, we begin to understand Prabhupada's statement that there's no love in the material world, which seems to be a very black and white statement, generalized, or one may say even unsympathetic or harsh. One could even say, it could even seem to be that's an ignorant statement. Of course, there's love in this world. But then it depends how you're defining love. But if you define love the way that Radha has love for Krishna, then you can understand that love does not exist here. It cannot exist here. Because when we're physically bound, there are limitations and contaminations that come with that. But in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, there is nothing. Now, to understand this, Krishna wants to enjoy. That's his nature, Purusha, Mahapurusha, the supreme enjoyer. And we all want to enjoy because we're part of him. And so the idea that Krishna wants to enjoy, it does seem strange in a sense, but how could we want to enjoy unless Krishna had that desire? And of course, when Krishna wants to enjoy, his enjoyment is beneficial. Jagat Hitaya is beneficial for the world. That's his position. Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagat Hitaya. He's beneficial for the cows, the people, and the world. So when Krishna wants to enjoy, he, out of his own Ladini Shakti, his Sarup Shakti, he creates from Ladini Shakti, creates in eternity. That's another class for those who like philosophy. Why do we say creates when everything's eternal? Anyway, that's another topic, but he manifests Radharani, and Radharani becomes that person, the one who can fulfill Krishna's desires completely, better than anyone. And then the Lakshmis, the Gopis, the Lakshmis, even Durga, she manifests all of them. They're all expansions, the queens of Dwarka and so forth. They're all expansions of Radha. So whatever love exists and devotion exists within all of them, she has more. She is the personification of that person who can satisfy Krishna's sarvakanti. She can satisfy Krishna's desires more than anyone. What a position. And our position as devotees is that we see her as the one who holds the key to devotion, because she is devotion personified. She is love personified. And if we could get her grace, if we could get her favor, then all perfection would come from that. There's nothing more we would want. There's nothing more we could ask for. And because she controls Krishna, if she recommends us to Krishna, then Krishna has to accept us. When I was first becoming a devotee, they told me, while they were shaving my head, they told me that Radharani is now telling Krishna, here's another devotee, and she's recommending you to Krishna, asking Krishna to accept you. So no matter who we are, no matter where we've been or what we've done, if Radharani tells Krishna, see him over there, you accept him, Krishna will do it. So to get the mercy of Radharani, there's nothing higher, nothing better. And so when the fact is, it's not just on Radhastami, it's every day. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Radharani is there in Maha Mantra. She is the gateway to Krishna. She is the personification of compassion, Krishna's compassion. Prabhupada said the women are soft-hearted, and Radharani is the soft-hearted side of Krishna. The Guru is a representative of Radharani, the compassion, the soft-heartedness. And for us to be Krishna conscious, we need that because we lack qualification. So unless there's someone who will accept us as we are, despite all we've done, and be willing to show kindness on us, we have no hope. So, especially in Braj, the devotees understand this. And their devotion is focused on Radha. As you all know, if you've been to Vrindavan, Jai Sri Radhe. Everything is about Radha because Radha is the compassionate side of Krishna. And therefore everyone is after her blessings, after her mercy. Because if we get her mercy, we get Krishna's mercy. So then the natural question comes, well, what is my relationship with Radharani? How do I approach Radharani? And we can speak in a generalized way, because we're not speaking specifically, what is your relationship with Krishna, that you may not be aware of that at this point. Maybe you're a cowherd boy. What's your relationship with Radharani? You're a cowherd boy. Your mother Yasoda. What's your relationship with Radharani? You're a gopi. We see in the pastimes of Krishna that everyone is supporting the love of Radha and Krishna, the meeting of Radha and Krishna, the Leela of Radha and Krishna. Every other rasa is supporting that. It's the center. And so someone may say, well, I feel like I'm in Sakya or Vatsalya. I don't feel an attraction to Madhurya. So do I not want the mercy of Radharani? Do I not focus on her? No. Everything in Vrindavan is focused on Radha and Krishna. That's the central point. And if you look at the pastimes, you will see how the other rasas are connected to that. Just like Krishna's most intimate friends, they send messages to the gopis. They deal with the gopis. They're arranging when Krishna will meet with Radha. So they're involved that way. And because Krishna's friends know that Radha is his heart and soul, certainly they would never do anything to minimize that and do everything they could to help Krishna fulfill his desire, to be with her. And of course, we know that Yashoda, by divine arrangement, by divine arrangement, definitely by divine arrangement, arranged that Radharani would cook under the pretense that Radharani was given a blessing by Durvasa. She pleased him that whatever you cook, no one would get sick. Maybe live forever like that. I don't know about live forever. They wouldn't get sick. So she decided that we must have Radharani cook for Krishna. He'll stay healthy. So by the arrangement of Yogamaya, Purnamasi, she's now engaged in Madhurya Leela and in facilitating it. So Radharani's cooking for Krishna, and Radharani's there every morning when Krishna's eating. So, and then of course, Madhurya Ras is, the gopis are doing all they can to facilitate the meeting of Radha and Krishna. Now, there are some devotees known as Manjaris whose devotion is for Radha. And the Manjaris will say things like, I don't care if Krishna doesn't like me. I don't care this and that. All I care about is Radha. If I don't have her mercy, if I don't have her seva, then even if I have Krishna, I don't care. So that is a special relationship called Manjari, in which their relationship is directly with Radharani, not with Krishna. And that is something a little more esoteric. We don't generally talk about it. Prabhupada didn't generally talk about it much because we're chanting Hare Krishna, Radha Krishna, and most devotees are not cultivating that Manjari Bhav, but it's there that those devotees are experiencing what Radharani is experiencing by serving her. The love that she's feeling for Krishna, they're experiencing it through her. And they don't have direct connection with Krishna. And so if you ever see prayers like that, and you will see these often, I just want Radharani's mercy. Without that, I don't care for anything, not even Krishna. Those are Manjaris, that's how they feel. and they never directly engage with Krishna. They don't let Krishna touch them. They experience Krishna through Radharani by helping her. Now, something we saw in the Ras Lila was that Radharani left transcendentally, feeling transcendentally neglected. And then Krishna wasn't satisfied, even in the presence of so many gopis. And the gopis understood that Krishna left because this one gopi left. They said how fortunate she is, but they understood her special position, that this must be, that we cannot satisfy Krishna. If Radharani is the only one that can perfectly satisfy Krishna. And there's a story. It's a funny story, but it makes this point. Krishna asked the brother of Radharani, "Can you bring Radharani here? Can you go home and bring her here?" And he's trying to figure out how to do that. So he went home and he said, Krishna wants to see you. So how to do this? And they thought, he said, if I dress up like you, who's her brother, Subal? My brain is rusty this morning. So he said, I'll dress up like you and you dress up like me. So Subal stays and dresses up like Radharani, and Radharani dresses up like Subal and leaves. So they thought, oh, Subal has come home and Subal is leaving. Subal, Sridham, Subal. Let's say Shubal for now. And so Radharani is leaving as Subal. And when she gets to Krishna, she doesn't change her clothes. And she starts playing with Krishna. He said, we couldn't get Radharani to come. But if you like, I can get Chandravali. And Krishna said, when you want milk, curd is insufficient. And then she revealed that she was Radharani, that she was flattered by that. But the point that was being made, it is that only Radha can satisfy Krishna on the deepest level. And so even when he wanted Radha to be present, so even Chandravali, who's an expansion of Radharani, directly, at that point he wanted Radharani, nothing else could satisfy him. So now if we can get the mercy of Radharani, then just a little bit, just a drop, just something, then our lives are supremely successful. But I think one thing we need to understand is that mercy comes through disciplic succession, because that ocean of mercy, praptasya, that the Guru takes from that ocean of mercy and distributes, that mercy is coming from Radharani. She is the ocean of mercy. Although we say Krishna is the ocean of mercy, but as we were saying, she manifests that compassion. So she's really the ocean of mercy, represented as Guru Tattva. And so we see Radharani in the Guru, because to approach Krishna, we must go through Guru. To approach Krishna, we must go through Radha. And so in that sense, there's no difference. That same mercy is coming to us. So Nikhil, I don't know how long I have to speak. It's already almost gone a half hour. So can you let me know? I forgot.
Yes, we can go for another 45 minutes and then we can have questions after that, if that's okay.
Yeah, um, I prefer, I often like doing these classes where there's questions while I'm speaking, but I have some things that Prabhupada said that I would like to read to you. And I have some things about Radharani that we can discuss. So what I just spoke was kind of it's kind of like an introduction. Here, let me see. This is a Prabhupada lecture. This was in 1969 in London. So I'll read some excerpts of this and we can discuss. What is the position of Srimati Radharani? We should try to understand this today and offer our obeisances to Radharani. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Our business is to pray to Radharani. You are so dear to Krishna, so we offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Pranamami Hari Priya. Radharani is Hari Priya, very dear to Krishna. So if we approach Krishna through the mercy of Radharani, then it becomes very easy. If Radharani recommends that this devotee is very nice, then Krishna immediately accepts, however foolish I may be. Because Radharani recommends it, Krishna accepts. Therefore, in Vrindavan, you'll find all the devotees chanting Radharani's name more than Krishna's. Wherever you go, you'll find the devotees are addressing one another. Jai Radhe. They're glorifying Radharani. They're more interested in worshiping her. This is because, however fallen I may be, if somehow or other I can please Radharani, then it is very easy for me to understand Krishna. Otherwise, Manushanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschid betimam tattataha. That means out of many thousands among men, you won't be able to understand Krishna. Now, if you take the devotional service and you try to please Radharani, then Krishna will be gotten very easily. Because Radharani can deliver Krishna. She is such a great devotee, the emblem of Bhagavata, topmost level of devotion. Even Krishna himself, though he says, Vedaham samatitani, I know everything, he cannot, excuse me, he cannot understand Radharani's quality. Radharani is so great. Actually, Radharani, in order to understand her potency, Krishna thought, I am full, I am complete in every respect, but still I want to understand Radharani. Why? This propensity made Krishna obliged to accept the propensities of Radharani to understand Krishna himself. So we know the descent of Mahaprabhu, the esoteric reason, is to understand the love that Radha had, the affection, the devotion, the happiness. And he couldn't understand it. And he could see that she had more love than he did. In a sense, transcendently jealous. What is this? This is wonderful. This is amazing. And this is also interesting where Prabhupada said that Krishna can't understand Radharani, even though he knows everything. And Prabhupada quotes the verse, Vedaham samatitani. And Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, I believe, I know everything, past, present, and future. 7th chapter? 9th chapter, who knows? Vedaham samatitani vartamana charjuna bhavishni chabhutani. Mam tu vedana kashtana. I know everything, past, present, future. Not you, I know. So then Prabhupada's saying here, but he can't understand Radharani. interesting that well, one of the reasons Prabhupada said this is that the nature of the spiritual is that it's always expanding. So once you understand, it's already expanded. It's like something's growing. It's like you measure your son, 5 years old, and as soon as you measure him, he grows 3, whatever, it goes 50 centimeters, and you measure that, and it goes 50 more. So it's like that. As soon as you measure Radha and Krishna, they've already grown. And so Prabhupada said Krishna can't even measure himself, because as soon as he measures himself, he's already grown beyond it. Can't measure his happiness, his knowledge, his anything. That's insight into the spiritual. That's interesting. So Prabhupada's talking about here glorifying Radharani through Mahaprabhu. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the names of Radharani and what they mean, because that will give us a glimpse into her character. This is not well organized, but I have some notes here I can go through. This is just some of this will be in the mood of, we're going to read it and maybe discuss it a little bit. And you may not understand it, or you may not understand everything about it, but you're hearing it. And hearing is the beginning of understanding. Sometimes to understand something, you have to hear something you don't understand so that you understand there's a lot more that I didn't know about, or there's a lot I don't understand that I didn't know I didn't understand. And that's part of, as funny as it sounds, it's part of understanding, is to know what I don't yet understand. So this is from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Sri Krishna Varahe Radhikara Dasa Ami To Sahite Nari Jugala Milan Sukera Koran Jivana Chodite Pori. It's Bengali. I didn't put on my Bengali accent for that. Maybe the next verse. So he says, I'm absolutely unable to tolerate Sri Radhika's pitiable condition when she is suffering in separation from Krishna. But I'm fully prepared to immediately give my life for the sake of their happy reunion. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is actually a Manjari. So he's in the mood of a Manjari here, who's a servant of Radharani. And the love that the Manjaris have for Radharani is explained here, that I would sacrifice my life 100 times. It's a poetic way of saying I would kill myself. I would die for you 100 times. If I could die, if my dying for some reason could give you happiness, I'd be willing to die over and over again. And that's the mood of the Manjaris. And when I see Radharani suffering in separation, I can't tolerate it. If by my giving up, if by giving up my life, I could cause Radha and Krishna to come together and break Radharani's separation, I would do it. That's the mood of the servants of Radharani, the Manjaris. Yes. Now, one thing we have to say, you will hear stories of Radharani's in separation, burning. There's a story that she was in separation, that they laid her down, I think, on some bamboo leaves or palm leaves. And she was burning in separation. She lit the palm leaf, her body lit the palm leaves on fire. Yeah, really burning in separation. So when we see this, it's interesting, because once Prabhupada was asked about separation, like 1967, 68, and he was so happy that the question was asked. And he started getting into it, talking about it, because these are amongst the highest feelings of bhakti. So Radharani exhibited very intense separation, and it's part of the manifestation of love. So naturally she'll manifest intense separation. That's what it means to love Krishna. And it externally appears to be very painful. But it's extremely blissful, and it's all arranged by the divine potency to enhance their love. Radhika Char, okay, it's Bengali term. Rodhika Charane, Chajia Amar, Shanake Praloy Hoy, Rodhikora Thore, Shata Bharamari, Sheduk Amor Shoy. If I were ever to renounce Radhika's lotus feet for even an instant, I would be totally devastated. For her sake, I will gladly tolerate the pain and agony of death hundreds of times. That's the next verse. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, I could give up anything. I could even give up my life, but I can't give up the lotus feet of Radharani. I can't give up serving her. That's the mood of the mantra. Eheno Radhara Charana Jugale Puri Charya Pabo Kobe Ho Ho Brojo John Mori Doya Kori Kobe Brojo Bane Loibe. When will I be able to serve Radhika's two lotus feet? Alas, I beg you all, O residents of Braja, please be merciful to me. Will you take me into the forest of Braja? So he's fully in this mood of a maidservant of Radha. Under the guidance of other manjaris. O Brajabasis, please be merciful to me. Please place me in the service of the divine couple. So there's, just to help us understand this, there's a song by Gorkashardas Babaji. And he's similar mood. And he's saying, "Oh Radha, please give me your darshan and save my life. Your wretched beggar calls out to you, Radhe, Radhe. Oh Radha, you enjoy pleasure pastimes in the forest of Vrindavan, wherein you enchant the mind of Krishna. Oh Radha, you are the crushed jewel among the 8 principal sakis." Raghunath Das was always calling out, Radhe, Radhe, sometimes at Keshigat, sometimes at Vamshibat. In Nidavan, at Sevakunj, Radhakunj, Shamakunj, Kusham Sharovara, sometimes at Giriraj Govardhan, sometimes at Talavan, sometimes at Tamalvan. So we get this idea. The Goswamis are manjaris, so Radha as their life and soul. And Hey Radhe Brajadevi Ke Chalalite, hey, where are you, Radha? Radha. Then, in this poem continues, Raghunath Das wears simple cloth, which appears to be dirty because he is always rolling on the earth crying, Radhe, Radhe. Calling out Radhe, Radhe, his eyes are bursting with a flood of tears. He wanders throughout Vrindavan, calling out Radhe, Radhe. He knows nothing but Radha Govinda. Yes. So this gives you an idea of, when you try to understand the mood of Brajbasis and why it's all Radhe, Radhe. Well, this is the Manjari tradition of the Goswamis who are in that rasa. So Radha is their life and soul. But for all of us, as I was saying, for all of us, and wherever we're at, and especially now in the practice of Vaidhi, still, the mercy of Radharani is everything. It's the gateway to Krishna. Pleasing Radharani is the gateway to Krishna. And I would just say on Tuesday, or whenever you're celebrating, for us it's Tuesday, I would say, this day, ask for Radharani to show mercy and help you with whatever you need help with, whatever problems you have. Pray to her. because she's kind and she'll hear it. And there's stories about this where Krishna wasn't so kind, but Radharani was kinder. Or Krishna was kind, but she was kinder. Or he wasn't so kind and she was. And so on her appearance day especially, that's the best day to approach her. We can pray for service because she's the custodian of service. We can pray for pure service. We can pray to overcome anarthas. We can pray for a connection. We can pray for a drop of mercy, a drop of love for Krishna that she has, an ounce, a speck, a particle of that love. Some kindness in our in our journey in bhakti. All of us, we find that there are obstacles, conditioned obstacles, things that are there that we don't want. They kind of just appear. Kind of like a blemish on the face. Nobody wants a blemish on their face, but sometimes they just appear, or there's a pimple on your face, it just appears. And you look at yourself and you think, I wish I didn't have this blemish. I didn't ask for it. It's just coming for some reason, due to diet or anxiety or whatever. It's nothing we consciously were working on. And so in our devotional service, there's so many things that are like blemishes that appear that we don't want, we didn't ask for, but they're there. And we have to contend with them. That's what it means to be a devotee. But we can pray to Radharani that these things are here. I don't want them, but they show up. Can you show mercy? Can you do something about it? Can you help me? And she will. So on her appearance day especially, I would suggest you pray in this way for her compassion. That for so many years, decades, I'm offending the holy name, or so many years or decades, I'm holding on to this anartha, or this conditioning won't let me go. It's disturbing me, it's disturbing others. I need your mercy, I need your help, so please help me. We all need help, definitely. So let's go over some of the names and then we can have some discussion. One name is Govinda Nandini. And Nandini means Ananda. So you have Govinda Nandini. It's not the daughter of Govinda. It's makes Krishna happy. Anandini. She can, if anyone can make Krishna happy, it's her. She knows she's the best. And if you or I can make Krishna happy, then that's a very high position. If we can do some seva to Radharani and she's pleased, then Krishna will be happy. It's like Prabhupada said, if you help me serve Krishna, then you get blessed. So you can do something to help Prabhupada serve Krishna, just some service in the spreading of the Sankirtan movement, then we get mercy. Our life is perfect. We please Prabhupada, the representative of Radharani. So she gives Krishna pleasure, and nobody can please Krishna as well as she can. Govinda Nandini. And another name is Govinda Mohini. Mohini means bewilders. She attracts Krishna, bewilders him. Also, we say Madan Mohan Mohini. So Krishna is the attractor of Cupid, and she's the attractor of Cupid. So she's like Cupid for Krishna. So another meaning of this, Govinda Mohini, is that Krishna bewilders everyone in the spiritual world and through his Maya Shakti in the material world. So everyone is enchanted positively or negatively by Krishna. Or maybe not negatively, but everyone's enchanted by Krishna's energy, working in a good way or a bad way. And although he enchants the whole universe, she enchants him. So what position? The one who is enchanting everyone is enchanted by her. That's amazing. Govinda Sarvasya. Sarvasya means everything. So when you love somebody, that person's everything for you, isn't it? You can't live without them. You can't imagine what life would be without them. Govinda Sarvasya, she's everything to Govinda. And this is it's so amazing. Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy is so amazing. Here, God is being controlled by love, by his love for someone else. That is there was a movie made. I guess it was my wife's movie called Women of Bhakti, and Rukmini was in it. And she said, at the center of the universe, there's a love affair. She said, isn't that beautiful? What is at the center of the universe? A love affair. So God, although he's controlling everything and bewildering everyone, he's controlled and bewildered by Radharani. She's everything to him. He's mad in love. God is madly in love. That's an amazing concept. That is such an intimate idea that you'll only find in Gaudiya Vaishnavism. God is madly in love, and he's inviting us to become madly in love also. So then we have Sarva Kanti Shiromani. So Shiromani means the crown jewel. And she's the crown jewel of all the beauties, of all the beautiful gopis. She's number one. As we said, they all come from her. And we told the story of the Rasa dance. So when the gopis left the Rasa dance to look for Krishna, they saw the footprints. And oh, this gopi, she's very fortunate. Krishna left the Rasa dance to find her. Yes, she is Krishnamayi. What a blessing to be Krishnamayi. This is a beautiful name. Mayi means full of. So one definition would be she's full of Krishna. Right? What a blessing. I bless you that you'll be Krishnamayi, full of Krishna. Another meaning is that she sees Krishna everywhere. Like there's full of Krishna means there's only Krishna. Whatever. So she exemplifies what pure devotion is. So what is pure devotion? Well, whatever you do, whatever you see, it's only about Krishna. Whenever you lift a little finger, it's only for Krishna. Krishnamayi, that's it, nothing else, all right? Everything reminds her of Krishna. The story, the gopis, they were really frustrated with Krishna. And they said, it was after the Rasa dance, he left them. And they're just like frustrated. He calls them out to dance. And he says, why don't you go home? And then they dance and he disappears. So while he disappears, they were enacting the pastimes. And then just to remain Krishna conscious. And then they said, why don't we just stop thinking about him? Because he's just driving us crazy. And they said, yeah, that's a good idea. It's impossible. Krishnamayi, they're all Krishnamayi. It's impossible to forget Krishna. So you can see by hearing about Radharani, if we could get a little bit of what she has, that we can pray to her, can have a little drop of what you have. Would that be amazing if you could get a drop of what Radharani had? Maybe this appearance day of Radharani, you can. Maybe she'll give it to you if you're sincere and you beg for it. Maybe you'll get a little something. If you get a little of that, it will completely change your life forever. You'll never be the same. And all your worries and material anxieties and needs, they'll become insignificant in the face of that love. Okay. Another name is Radhika, and Radhika means one who fulfills all the desires of Krishna. Yeah. And what's another sheep? And he worships her, as in the Rasa Lila. When he left, he was worshiping her many times. He worships her, and she becomes upset, and he tries to pacify her. So he's totally controlled by her, and always thinking about her, and always trying to meet her. And it's so interesting because we see that when a man and woman, a boy and girl fall in love, how intense is that affection? And when you understand the intensity of Radha's love for Krishna and understand that that love here is a perversion of that, then you understand how, you get some glimpse of why that attraction here is so intense. It's reflecting that. But that's the reality. And you just imagine how intense that is. Actually, we can't imagine. It's not possible. Anyway. She is Para Devata, the most worshipable of all. Because she's worshipped by Krishna. So she gets the first place for the most worshipable. Sometimes it's said that Radha is Krishna's teacher in the school of love. Have you heard that before? Radharani is in the school of love, she is his teacher. And then once Vrinda Devi came back from Radhakund and said, I saw Krishna, and said, well, what was he doing? Said he was dancing. And then Radharani said, well, who was his dancing teacher? And she said, well, in every tree around Radhakund, he sees your reflection, so you're his dancing teacher. So Radharani is his teacher in the school of love. She's also his dancing teacher. So when there's love, you see your lover everywhere. So I think we could go on further, but I think you get the idea that this love that Radha and Krishna has, it's the real thing. And this is what Krishna consciousness centers on. And this is what we're trying to develop. And the more you meditate on it, the more you understand it, the more you can see that the love of this world is contaminated. It's a perversion of that. And the more we can understand that we're trying to imitate that, and it doesn't work. Definitely doesn't work. It hasn't worked for millions of lifetimes, and it's not going to work. There's no lifetime where it's going to work. Now, another understanding of Radharani is that whatever prema exists in this world, whatever prema any devotee has, it comes from her. She has it all. She has the storehouse of prema. She's like the mother of prema, the mother. And we have a few minutes, then we'll take questions. I want to read this nice verse, Brahma Samhita. Can you hear that? Play it for you. You can hear that? The Chinmaya Rasa Pratita Vitabis Tabir Eva Nichurupataya Kalavi Goloka Eva Nivasatpatila Prabhuto Govindamadi Prusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Prusham Tamaham Bhajami. You know that verse? Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitavis Tabir Eva Nijurupataya Kalavi Goloka Eva Nivasatpatila Govindamadi Prusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Prusham Tamaham Let's read the translation. It's beautiful. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who resides in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha, who resembles his own spiritual figure. She's the female counterpart. The female God, God in female form, and who embodies the ecstatic potency, Ladini. Their companions, her confidants, who embody extensions of her bodily form, and who are imbued and permeated with ever blissful spiritual rasa. So, she's the personification of Ladini Shakti, the blissful potency. And all the gopis are extensions of her bodily form. They're like more expansions of Radharani and just more gopis to satisfy Krishna. And Radha's love is such that she would say that if another gopi can satisfy Krishna more than I can, I'm happy to bring those gopis to Krishna. And that's love. Not like that in the material world. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. That is now 1:59. So Nikhil is going to let me know if there's any questions. I tried not to get too esoteric, but this can get very esoteric and very, I think, beyond our realization. We're still trying to realize we're not the body. So I think we have to be careful when we approach this, to not think we understand what we don't understand, and to be very reverential.
Yes, thank you so much, Prabhu, for that amazing class, and we're so fortunate to get a little preview of the Brahma Samhita prayer. So thank you so much. We have got a few questions in. So the first question we got is, you mentioned that Radharani recommends us to Krishna. Why is it then that we in ISKCON are not allowed to chant the names of Radha?
We just had a kirtan a little while ago. It went like this. I'll play it for you. I'm going to disobey the GBC right now, okay? You have heard this song in London because... Radharani, 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 Radhe, Radhe. Breaking all the rules now, right? Radharani, 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 Radhe, Radhe. So there you go. Is that an answer to your question? The Hare Krishna mantra has the name of Radha. Hare Krishna mantra has the name of Radha in it. And there came a time, I think on Radharani's appearance day, or even on other days, where the kirtan was overtaken by Radhe, 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 Radhe. Like half the artik was Radhe, Radhe, Radhe. And so some of the devotees were observing that was not done during Prabhupada's time, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So there's a legislation passed. I don't think the intention was to entirely prevent the chanting of Radha's name, but so that sometimes when the pendulum swings too far one way, you swing it to the other way, right? I want to do something right now. I want to give me 1 second. I want to get rid of my virtual background. I don't know how. Oh, I just want, anyway, we'll figure that out later. So it was in that mood that, and sometimes, your parents will say, don't do this, because they're afraid if you do it a little, you'll do it a lot. And there's actually nothing wrong with doing it a little, but just because you've gone overboard, they'll just like, don't do this ever again. So it was done in that mood. But I think on Radharani's Appearance Day, or sometimes if we're doing a bhajan, it's not the end of the world. But this was like at Arti, when we're supposed to be chanting Hare Krishna or in temple kirtan. Then Radhe Radhe was overtaking it and other things. So the idea was that to make sure that the Maha Mantra is the main kirtan. If you chant Radharani, that is not like the end of the world, but we didn't see Prabhupada do it, so it's also there. I want to follow his example. But I really like this Radharani song. It was done first in England by who? A devotee did it. Trikalagya, maybe. What was his name? I forget. So I really liked it. So sometimes we chant it. It's nice, but it's not something we do all the time, and not to replace the Maha Mantra. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu. The next question we have is, can you clarify the part where you mentioned that we see Radharani in the Guru, please?
Yeah, because as Prabhupada said, you can never approach Krishna directly, so you approach through Radharani, or you approach with the Guru. And so that's the idea, that she is the way to get to Krishna, and therefore the Guru, because the Guru is the way to get to Krishna, the Guru represents Radha. And he is, just like one time a devotee said he wanted to pray to Lord Nityananda, and Prabhupada said, that's fine, but you have to pray to your Guru before you pray to Lord Nityananda. You have to pray to your Guru that you can pray to Lord Nityananda. So everything goes to the Guru, but the Guru is representing that mercy of Radharani. So we see it as, it's the same mercy, and she distributes it, and the Guru distributes it for her. So she's a manifestation of the Guru is a manifestation of her. Something like that.
Thank you. Next question is, do we approach Srimati Radharani through Shravanam and Kirtanam with consciousness specifically focused on appealing to her mercy, just as we might focus specifically on Krishna's lotus feet or his pastimes?
Well, I wouldn't say exclusively, but you should know what you can get from her. You can get Krishna from her because she has Krishna. So naturally, it's like, let's say I have, I'm, what's his name from Amazon? Steve Bezos. Like, right. He makes more money in a day than anyone could make in a lifetime, something like that. And so if you go to Steve Bezos, and you don't have much money, then naturally, you're going to think, well, I should ask him. That's what he can give me, but it's not the only thing. The other thing, we were given instructions very early on as young devotees that you should pray to Radharani for service. Like, of course, some of us don't want to pray for service. We have too much service. So I'm not going to pray. I stopped chanting rounds years ago. Why? Because I have too much service. No. You pray for pure devotional service. So Radharani, I pray that I can do pure service to Krishna. I pray that I can serve Krishna with a fraction of your love. So it's you can pray to Radharani for anything. You can ask Steve Bezos for anything. But the fact that he's making like $1 million every second, and if you need money, that's probably the thing he could give you the most of, the best. So, if you can meet someone who possesses Krishna, you probably want to ask them, can you put in a good word for me? Like that, can you say something? But we see this, we have the same relation with Prabhupada. If Bhagavatam says, if you're dear to a devotee that's dear to Krishna, you're dear to Krishna. So that's why we see the Guru and Radharani. It's like, it's the same thing. Right? Yeah. But what I think, personally, one of the things that I think is so important for us is that we study the love that Radha has for Krishna. Because when Krishna comes to this world and enacts his Leela, why is he doing it? You could say, well, he's doing it because he can do things here that he doesn't do up there. Okay, you could say that, but that's not really the reason he comes here. He can, he can do things up there also. He's okay up there. If he never comes down here, he's like, he'll live, he'll be fine. So when he comes down here, he's showing us what it's like there. So he's bringing his devotees to show us this is love. So now Krishna's come down with the gopis, his mother, his friends, Radharani. This is the highest thing in Braj, and it's being revealed by the Goswamis. To us who are unqualified, it's just like incredible. Mercy we have. So we have to look at this and say, okay, he's showing to us the love of the gopis, the love of Radha, so we can see this is what love is. What we're trying to do is a total imitation of that. And that we can try to develop this love in their footsteps, in the wake of that love. Understand it, what it is. By understanding it, then we can start to imbibe it to some degree. So when I see the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, I'm always, and the gopis, I'm always looking at it through that angle of, all right, show me what is, there's this song. I want to know, like 20, 30, 40 years ago, I don't know. I want to know what love is. I want to know what love is. I know you can show me. So it's similar to that. I want to know what love is, and I know you can show me. You are showing us what love is. And I want to know that. And the only way I'm going to know it is by seeing you engaging with Krishna. Otherwise, my concept of love is all flawed. It's overcome by lust and envy and so many contaminations. And now you're showing what is love. So I think this is another aspect of celebration of Radhastami, of celebration of Radha's love, and helping and us trying to understand it and get a grasp of it, and some of that mood falling on us, at least conceptually, if not practically, then conceptually. We get some idea this is love. Otherwise, what do we know about love? If the guy tells a girl, I love you, and then 20 years later, she puts on some weight, not looking so good. Then he says, I don't love you anymore. I love the girl next door. That's what we know about love. We don't even, nowadays things are so bad, we don't even know what responsible love is. All right. I don't like my wife, I don't like my husband, but we're committed. We stay together. I committed to serve you. So we need to understand what love is. And then we can love Prabhupada and we can love our spiritual master. I want to tell a little story. This is so funny. And then you can ask more questions. So Chanakya, you may know this shloka from Chanakya Pandit. He says that a man may be ugly, but if he's learned, he's beautiful. And a woman may come from a low-class family, but if she's chaste, she's beautiful. And a crow may be, I forget. There's different kinds of people, become, Shudra becomes beautiful by serving, and the Brahman becomes beautiful by forgiving, and like that. And Prabhupada said, and so a devotee said to Prabhupada, in regards to that verse, when does a devotee become beautiful? And Prabhupada said, a devotee becomes beautiful when he strictly follows the order of his spiritual master. He said, otherwise he's ugly. I think he said it twice. If he doesn't follow the order of his spiritual master, he's ugly. So, you know, what is the beauty of the residence of Raj? And what is love? And they have so many ideas of, I love my girl. Well, do you follow him? No, but I love him. You know, Prabhupada never explained it that way. No. Love is different. So we have so many strange ideas of love, and then we see the love that Radha has for Krishna, and we start to understand something about love. So you have other questions?
Yes, we have another one. The character of Radha is a bit difficult to understand. It seems the character of Radha is a bit difficult to understand. It seems she wants to have Krishna for herself, and she's often jealous of him. But at the same time, it's said she is more happy seeing other devotees doing service for Krishna. How to understand this? It seems to be a bit contradicting.
Yes. No contradiction. I wish I could. Anybody know how I can get my virtual background though? It's not giving me a choice of none. Choose virtual background. Where's the none setting? Oh, wait a minute. Ah, there you go. Now I can move around without all this kind of. This is a real virtual background. It's actually my office. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. So this is, we understand this. You see, if Radharani knows that there's another gopi that can satisfy Krishna more than her, she's happy. If you go with Krishna, you'll be happy. But she knows that she's the one who satisfies him the most. So she wants Krishna to be happy, and if he needs her to be happy, then she has to take that position. So that's what she does. So, and if there's anything that looks like envy or anything that looks like anything material happening in the spiritual world, it's only happening to increase the feelings of love. That's why it happens. And we may not understand it because we see it materially, but that's why it's there. It's just increasing the love. There's no other reason. It won't happen for any. There won't be anything that's going on in the spiritual world that's not for the purpose of love. So that's just like a general answer that where you start from. So I don't understand this. Oh, this is happening because it's increasing rasa relationship. But then you work back from that and try to figure out how would that be true?
Thank you. We have one last question now.
Okay.
How can we understand that Radharani married someone other than Krishna?
Yes. Why? And also the gopis were married, apparently, right? It said that those marriages were like Abhimanyu means shadow. It's not. Is that the question? How is it? Is that the question? How could? Yeah. It's same answer. It's to enhance the Leela. You know the story when Krishna played his flute and some of the gopis couldn't go. And why couldn't they go? Well, they were on their way and their husband said, no, you're not going. I'm not letting you go out now. And then you might be thinking, well, what kind of husbands are those? But those husbands are devotees and they stopped under the direction of Yogamaya. But why did they stop them? Because they weren't qualified yet. And by being stopped, they became qualified because their anxiety hit this level where they gave up any contamination in their subtle body was given up. So it's all part of the Leela to enhance the Leela of Krishna. One godbrother, he said, you know, having a relationship with a wife it's okay, he said, but having an illicit relationship is more exciting. So, the guy is married for so many years and it's like, oh, this is boring. Let's go have a relationship with my best friend's wife, in secret. That's exciting. So, you know, being married is not so exciting. So it's, you have to understand that everything in this world is a perversion of that world. So when it's going on there, it's just, everything's better. It's to make things exciting. Now Krishna is dancing with the wives of other men. Oh, that's so bad. He likes it. It's said that, why does Krishna steal butter? He said, because stolen butter tastes better. Why does Krishna steal other men's wives? Stolen wives taste better. So it's something like, you know, it's for his transcendental enjoyment that he makes these arrangements. But they're not really married. It's just an illusion. That's not actually there. And did you know that the gopis, they actually have forms, other forms, and when they go out, those forms are there, and they never had any sexual contact with their husbands. And these other forms did, expansions. So that's the, you know, getting into kind of esoteric stuff. Did that answer the question well enough, or are you more confused now?
No, I think that was a good answer. Thank you. We have another question that's just come through. The question reads, when Krishna went to Dwarka and Kurukshetra, why is there much written about how Radharani dealt with the separation? Where was she, and how comes Krishna did not mention anything about Radha to Arjun?
To Arjun.
Yeah.
So we know that when Krishna was in Dwarka, he would sometimes exhibit symptoms of separation from Radha, and Rukmini would hear him talking about Radha or dreaming about her, mentioning it. So first thing we understand is that no matter where Krishna is or what he does, his relationship with Radharani is, it's always the same, and Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. And what does that mean? That Vrindavan is a place where Krishna lives as Shyam Sundar. And so outside of Vrindavan, there are other forms, other aspects of Krishna. So that Krishna form always stays in Vrindavan. And so in Radharani and the Brajbasis are seeing Krishna in Vrindavan. But separation is also described. Sometimes you see Krishna and you don't see him, or you see Krishna and you think he's going to leave, and you're feeling separation, even while you're present with him. So there's all kinds of separation. It's a whole science. You can study this. That's going on. And Krishna is feeling separation from Radha wherever he goes. Now, you know, Arjuna is a friend, and Arjuna is not part of Madhurya Rasa, so he wouldn't have any reason, Krishna wouldn't have any reason to talk about it. But some Vaishnavas, when Krishna says Sarvadhamma Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Braja, they translate that as go to Braja. Sharanam Braja means go, but they translate it as go to Braja. So there's always an esoteric way to see everything in relation to Krishna's love for the gopis. They said that's what Krishna's talking about in the Bhagavad Gita. He's talking about the love to go to Braja and surrender like the gopis, you know, give up everything like the gopis. I was hearing a commentary on Gayatri Mantra, and the first line of Gayatri Mantra uses the word Bhargo, which means effulgent. And so Jiva Goswami says, oh, this is Radharani's effulgence. It's not the sun. Normally you say it's the effulgence of the sun. No, it's her effulgence. So you see everything in that way in relation to Radha and Krishna's love. But Arjuna is in a different position. And so to my knowledge, he's not involved. But as far as Kurukshetra, what was the question about Kurukshetra?
So why is there much written about how Radharani dealt with the separation when Krishna went to Dwarka and Kurukshetra?
Yeah, well, especially, why is there much or why is there not much?
The question is, why is there much written about how Radharani dealt with the separation?
Yeah, because separation is the highest emotion, and so there's much written about it. It's like what you can't feel that separation without prema. So it's a stage of prema. It's a very high stage of prema. So naturally, because it's a high stage of love, and we want to learn about love. There's a lot written about it. And it's kind of like we're adolescents learning about the birds and the bees when we hear about Radha and Krishna. So we're learning about separation. It's part of it. When Krishna went to Kurukshetra, when Krishna was at Kurukshetra and Radharani was there, she wanted to bring Krishna back to Vrindavan, and he wasn't able to go. So it's a kind of separation where it's like the way I see it is kind of like you're visiting someone in jail, and there's a glass between you, and you can't touch them, you can't kiss them, you can't bring them with you. It's kind of like that. There's this Krishna, but he's not Braj Krishna. He's this kingly Krishna. And so it's kind of like you're starving. And the other side of this glass is pizza, ice cream, pakoras, sabji, eggplant parmesan, everything you like, and you're starving, but it's on the other side of the glass. And it's driving you crazy because you can't have it. It's better you don't see it. So it's like Krishna's like on the other side of the glass in Kurukshetra, and Radharani can't have Krishna. And she's saying, come back to Vrindavan. Then that is where Krishna exists as Shyam Sundar. And because she's there with him, but not there with him, it is said her separation hit the highest peak at that place, at that time. You know, like it's like in prison. Your husband's in prison and you're with him and you can't take him home, and it drives you crazy. You know, he's there. He's got to stay on the other side of the glass. So it said that. So because separation is considered the highest position in love, and that's where separation hit the highest position. Therefore, it said what happened to Kurukshetra was the highest. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, I don't want to die in Vrindavan. I want to die, or I don't want to be buried or die. I forget which. I want to die at Kurukshetra, because that's where separation hit the highest. So, you know, it's interesting because you hear about these things, and some of these things you hear about, they're just kind of out of the blue, like, oh, this is part of Krishna consciousness. I never learned that in my bhakti class. You know, now I'm learning about Radharani at Kurukshetra and Bhaktivinoda wanting to die there, and different kinds of separation. And it's all just part of the learning process of understanding what is love. And then it helps us understand the perversion of love, which is what we're engaged in. And it's very important to understand that this is love. I was on Janmashtami, I was doing, we were singing Govindam, Adi Purusham, for the deities. It was just a small group. My wife was fanning the deities. I was singing, my daughter was playing the kartals. And I was looking at them and I was thinking, this is love. When the wife, the husband, the daughter, the son, they all worship Krishna. That's love. But trying to enjoy one another, that's only possible with Radha and Krishna and the Krishna and the pure devotees. And we try to do it. It's a perversion, and we don't understand it until we understand how do you understand a perversion unless you understand the reality? Like when I was young, I play guitar. So someone could make a copy of a guitar that's not the real thing and try to sell it for that price. But if you know the real thing and you play it and you listen to it and say, something's wrong, this cannot be the real thing, right? Or, you know, a microphone, I say, this microphone is this, and you hear it and you say, no. But if you don't know what the real guitar sounds like and feels like, or the real microphone or whatever it is that you're familiar with, then how will you know this is a perversion? So by learning about the reality, we start to understand how our relationships are perversions of that reality. And we're supposed to worship that reality and become part of that reality. And that's our goal, to be part of that reality.
Thank you so much. That was an amazing answer to that question. So it's so nicely put in a practical way. So I think with that, that was the last of the questions. So if it's okay with you, we can conclude class there. So I just want to take this opportunity once again to thank Mahatma Prabhu for taking out so much of his valuable time to to give it to us on such an amazing topic, such a difficult topic to talk about, but Prabhu presented it in such an eloquent way, in a way that we can try and understand. So thank you so much once again.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Nice to see all of you, or feel all of you. I don't see you, but I know you're there. Hare Krishna. Srila
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol.